The dog and the wolf were about to start their competition. As soon as the bell rang, they immediately began their duel, both unafraid of the other. Suddenly, a painful scream echoed through the air, shocking everyone. The dog, which had been the champion for several years in a row, was defeated in an instant by a gray wolf. The gray wolf quickly jumped onto a wooden box and seized the opportunity to escape, but it was soon surrounded by humans. The wolf's owner whipped the gray wolf, but it refused to endure any longer and fought back. It bit down on the whip, pulling it away, then charged toward the door. The gray wolf looked at the girl in front of it, almost as if asking for help. The girl opened the door, and in an instant, the gray wolf dashed out. That night, the girl had nowhere to sleep, so she went to rest in an old warehouse. Suddenly, the gray wolf ran out, startling the girl. The wolf bared its teeth and fiercely stared at her. The girl slowly stood up and began walking toward the door, while the gray wolf gradually calmed down. Before leaving, the girl gave the wolf half a sweet potato. The wolf looked at the sweet potato on the ground, its expression softening. The next day, the girl got lost in the forest. She was thirsty and hungry, only able to drink a little water to ease her discomfort. Suddenly, she saw the gray wolf's figure reflected on the water surface. She looked up and saw the gray wolf with a rabbit in its mouth. It placed the rabbit down and walked away. The gray wolf had returned to repay her. But as the girl was eating, a heavy rain suddenly poured down from the sky. She found a cave to shelter from the rain. Thunder and lightning erupted nearby. At that moment, the gray wolf entered the cave. It quietly stared at the girl, not making a sound. The girl also looked at it, knowing that she had entered its territory. But unexpectedly, the gray wolf didn't react, only silently watching her. The next morning, as the first light of day broke, the girl had slept soundly. When she woke up, she found herself lying on the gray wolf's back. Confused, she turned around and saw the gray wolf quietly lying on the ground. From the moment the girl gave it the sweet potato, the gray wolf had considered her its master. It followed her silently, protecting her along the way. Thus, the gray wolf and the girl became companions, continuing their journey to find the girl's father together. Not a single polar bear can resist the temptation of seal meat. The elastic skin and rich, silky fat are a polar bear's favorite delicacy. One bite, and the warm oils explode in its mouth. Every year from March to April, spring arrives in the Arctic, and seals come to the ice floes one after another to breed. This is also the best opportunity for polar bears to hunt seals. This mother bear wakes up from hibernation. After confirming there's no danger around, the mother bear emerges from the den with two polar bear cubs that are just over 3 months old. During the 6-month hibernation, the mother bear survived solely on her body fat and also had to bear the responsibility of nursing her cubs. At this moment, she's absolutely starving. The mother bear must hurry to find food. Polar bears have an incredibly keen sense of smell. They can detect scents from a mile away or a meter beneath the ice and snow, allowing them to locate seal breathing holes. The polar bear will then patiently lie motionless on the ice, waiting until the seal surfaces for air, then suddenly swings its massive paw and knocks the seal unconscious with one blow. Seals sunbathing on the ice are also targets for polar bear ambushes. After locking onto a seal resting on an ice floe, the mother bear uses the ice as cover and slowly swims toward her target. She must be extremely careful and avoid making any noise. The mother bear swims behind the seal and watches quietly. But unfortunately, just as she launches her attack, the alert seal spots her. With a splash, it dives into the water and disappears in an instant. The mother bear has lost a golden hunting opportunity. 2 days later, the polar bear mother suddenly catches a strong scent of blood on a nearby ice floe. A large male bear has successfully caught a seal. He's hunched over, wolfing down chunks of seal meat. The mother bear watches from a distance with her cubs, drooling with desire. For polar bears, seals are the energy source that sustains life. After the male bear eats his fill, he doesn't waste the leftover seal meat. Instead, he buries it under the snow to save for next time. However, the mother bear has quietly noted his every move. She doesn't act rashly, but instead takes her cubs and temporarily leaves, giving the male bear a sense of security. A few days later, well fed and satisfied, the male bear completely lets his guard down and falls into a deep sleep on the ice. The mother bear finally gets her chance. She brings her cubs back for a surprise return. After being hungry for half a year, the mother bear and her cubs finally eat their first meal of meat. A polar bear suddenly appeared, sending the walruses into a frenzied panic. They trampled over each other, rushing into the water to escape. Some even risked climbing to the mountaintop to avoid the bear, but this played right into the polar bear's trap. While the mountaintop offered the walruses a cooler environment, it also hid a deadly danger. When the starving walruses prepared to descend, they realized they were already trapped in a desperate situation. The scent of the ocean kept calling to them, but leaping from a 100-meter cliff meant either death or rebirth. Finally, driven by hunger, the first walrus took the plunge. With a tremendous crash, the walrus slammed into the sea like a cannonball. Then, one after another, the walruses fell. Perhaps they had already given up hope, or perhaps they held onto a belief in life through death. One by one, they tumbled from the cliff's edge, bodies piled up like mountains beneath the cliff. Even the lucky walruses that were still breathing eventually closed their eyes. After everything settled down, the culprit behind this tragedy appeared, the polar bear. Tons of walrus carcasses were washed ashore by the waves, becoming a grand feast for the polar bear. However, not every polar bear hunts in such a brutal way. This polar bear mother, with her cub, tried to capture a walrus, but adult walruses are massive and armed with sharp tusks, making them far from easy prey. Still, among the walruses were some newborn calves, which would be easier targets for the polar bear. But the walrus mothers always used their flippers to hold their babies close. After the polar bear mother worked out her strategy, she immediately locked her gaze on a group of walruses sunbathing on the beach. Perhaps among these adult walruses, a calf was hidden somewhere. The young polar bear cautiously approached the walruses, deciding to observe up close. Sure enough, she spotted a calf hiding at the edge of the group. The young polar bear decided to stake out beside the walruses. Looking at this not yet adult polar bear, the walruses didn't think it posed any real threat. But when the mother polar bear arrived, they instantly fled in chaos. They dove into the water, and in the confusion, a walrus calf was left behind by its mother. The polar bear mother saw her chance and quickly moved in to claim her prize. The adult walruses watched this scene unfold from the water, yet showed no intention of mounting a rescue. This is the cruelty of nature. A reindeer calf is caught by a hungry polar bear. The mother reindeer in the distance can't believe her eyes. She's never seen this kind of monster before. The mother knows there's no way to rescue her calf, so she can only turn around and leave. In mid-April, a young polar bear wanders across the broken ice. This is its first spring living alone after leaving its mother. Suddenly, the silhouette of a walrus appears on a patch of floating ice ahead. It quickly heads toward the walrus. Startled, the two walruses twist their bodies rapidly and plunge into the sea. The polar bear, hunting for the first time, doesn't realize just how difficult it is to catch an adult walrus. It stands at the edge of the ice floe, staring at the walrus in the water with frustration. Only when the walrus completely disappears does the polar bear finally turn away. After this first failed hunt, it has no choice but to head back toward shore. Since it can't catch prey on the sea ice, the polar bear decides to leave the ice and head inland to search for food. After walking for half an hour, the polar bear picks up a distinctive scent. Following the direction of the smell, it climbs over a snow-covered mountain. The polar bear finally sees the source of the scent. A reindeer ahead also spots the polar bear, but it doesn't run away immediately. These reindeer have never seen a polar bear before, so they don't find it frightening. But soon they'll pay the price for their ignorance. As the polar bear begins its chase, the reindeer finally realizes the danger. For a polar bear weighing 300 kilograms and accustomed to hunting on ice, competing with reindeer in a foot race offers no advantage whatsoever. After chasing for a while, the polar bear still can't keep up with the reindeer's pace. But just then, they've reached the base of the mountain. The deeper snow slows down the reindeer's running speed. The polar bear sees its chance and continues the chase. At this point, the three reindeers split into two groups. The polar bear hesitates only briefly before pursuing the two reindeer on the right. After another 2 hours of pursuit, just as the polar bear is about to give up, the two reindeer ahead separate. This time the polar bear doesn't hesitate at all. It chooses to chase the reindeer heading downhill. Both are back in the deep snow now, and the distance between the polar bear and the reindeer is rapidly closing. Finally, the polar bear gives everything it's got and manages to bring the reindeer down. The mother reindeer in the distance knows there's no way to save it, so she can only turn and leave. For the polar bear, although the process was grueling, its persistence ultimately brought victory.